All right, ladies and gentlemen. A pleasant good evening to every single one of you. Great to be having you on this session this morning. This is going to be an amazing session, and we really appreciate you guys joining us for this lovely, lovely topic. I mean, imagine this topic: how to argue properly. Whoa, this is going to be a blast, not just because of the topic, but because of the man prepared to present on this topic, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, wow, wow. We're going to be having a blast, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to present to you at this time the one who will be co-hosting with me, ladies and gentlemen. I want to present to you none other than my man. Oh boy, he's a really cool guy. You're going to be seeing a little bit more about him in a while. And I just want you to take some time and take in the session, because this is going to be a grand one, and the one who is about to present is going to be a grand one. The one who is about to co-host with me, ladies and gentlemen, he is also going to be a super one, because he's a young man that is coming up in this session as well. He's coming up in this broadcasting, and having his own show, and he does a lot of that as well, and I really appreciate hearing the type of work that he does. And I can't wait to present him to you this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take the time to present to you none other than the man himself, the one and only. Oh boy, he is the Queen, ladies and gentlemen. It's a unique name. He is none other than Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give it up for your boy Queen. Oh boy, Queen. When you're ready, you can unmute your mic and you can let me know how you're doing this morning, my bro. Let me know how you're doing this morning. I keep saying this morning. I keep doing a morning show. All right, I'm accustomed doing a morning show. So let me know how you're doing this evening, my man. Wow. Queen, tell me something. What you thought when you heard first about this topic. This topic called how to argue properly. What you first thought about it? You have me cracking up. Yeah, I love it. And the thing is, arguments are things we get involved in all the time. What about you? How usually how your arguments go? How does your arguments end, Quaid?
You and like with that, as I said, like I'm so interested in this. I want to know. I'll be taking notes. I'll be here writing down everything, and yeah, and hopefully my arguments don't always end in me conceding so much.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's take in this session for a while. We want to be getting you up and ready to roll, ready to pump, because we have a beautiful, beautiful session ready to deliver to you this evening. All right. All right, so looking and we're seeing that we got folks on the Facebook. We also got some folks on YouTube. All right, I want you to do something for me at this time, ladies and gentlemen. Do something for me. I need you to put where you're viewing from. I need you to put that in the chat. We want to know who we're talking with. We want to know who we're dealing with this evening. All right, put that in the chat where you're viewing from. All right, put it up in the chat and let's know what we got. We're going to be checking it out in just a minute. All right, and don't be afraid to share this video. I want you to take the time to do that right at this moment. Share the video and put in the chat where you're viewing from. I know some people might be viewing from around the Caribbean. Who knows? You might be viewing from far and wide as the UK or probably Canada. We want to know where you're viewing from. We want to know something about you. So put that in the chat and let us know. Oh, Adrian and Natalia from Trinidad. Oh boy. Peter from Tobago. I'm seeing Mova Trinidad. I'm seeing from beautiful Tobago. Oh boy, I'm seeing the Trinidad flag going up on the Facebook platform as well. Oh, look at that, a family out of Canada. Wow, that is Daniel Norville. Good to see you this evening. Wendy and Norton. Guys, while you're putting up on the chat where you're viewing from, we also want to know what you think about this topic, all right, and what you expect to get out of this topic. All right, let's chat just a little bit. All right, we can't just bring the topic at you bang one time. Nah, we gotta take it slow. So let's know what you're expecting from this talk, from this conversation, from this presentation. Let us know what you're expecting from it. Let us know if you're excited about it. Put some stuff in the chat. Let me know what's happening with you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, Bermuda. That's good. I'm seeing Bermuda in the chat. A lot of people from Trinidad and Tobago. I wonder if this presenter is from Trinidad or Tobago. You had to be around the place for all these people from Trinidad. Oh, look, Arizona. Good morning to you, Sharon Hartman, all the way from Arizona. Wow. Abby Smith from Grenada, the borough of Point Fortin. This person is really specific. Oh boy, that's what I'm talking about. I hope you're ready to have a good time, because we got the man to present in just a while. Ladies and gentlemen, just let's get this thing rolling. Just keep it rolling. Good to be seeing you guys flowing. Let me see what's happening on the YouTube platform. Yeah. Just say where you're coming from, say where you're viewing from, and we're gonna have a good time. I promise you that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. I want you to know, by the way, that this is not the only free seminar that will be available. There's another free seminar coming up, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to keep that in mind. This free seminar is called Money Matters, ladies and gentlemen, on the 9th of October. Another free seminar. Wow. If you want to stop living from paycheck to paycheck, ladies and gentlemen, then you must change your money mindset. And if you want to change your money mindset, guess what? You got to tune in to listen to Michael and tune in to listen to Deanna. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael and Deanna, they're going to tear the place down. They're going to be talking a bit about money. All right, helping us learn how to change our money mindset, people. So keep that in mind. All right, guys. So at this time, we want to take a little moment. As I'm waiting for people to flow in. I'm really happy to see all the places where you're viewing from. That's really exciting, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I want to take a moment. All right. All right, good. I get notifications coming in here. I want to take a moment to encourage you to settle down, get your pens, get your paper, because what is going to be said here is really pertinent stuff from the professional himself, Michael A.T. Stewart. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about Michael Stewart. That man is a certified coach. He's a certified coach, and he got his leadership training. A certified leadership coach, he got his leadership training from the man himself, John C. Maxwell. Wow, John C. Maxwell. If you don't know who John Maxwell is, then Lord have mercy, you have been hiding under a rock. Ladies and gentlemen, he is not just trained by John C. Maxwell, but he was also trained by the one and only Les Brown, ladies and gentlemen. He was trained by the one and only Les Brown. And if you don't know who those men are, let me tell you something. These men are two of the biggest guns in the world today, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to leadership and speaking. Let me tell you this, not even the U.S. military forces have guns as big as these guys, two of the biggest. And this man, Michael A.T. Stewart, he was trained by these two powerful men. All right. So as we prepare to listen to Michael, he's not just a certified leadership coach, not just a man trained by Les Brown, but I'm seeing he's a media personality. You can catch him on the radio station every week. Also, he's a counselor and a licensed marriage officer. Wow, a personal development trainer. And there's some things that you need to know also about Michael, because as he trains people, there is a particular thing that he's involved with. It is called Be Men. He's the president of Be Men. It is an association, it's a group that he created to train and mentor young men. And I love that about Michael, because he takes time he looks at the future, and he takes time to see, where the young men need to be and start investing in them early. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So he is involved in a few mentorship programs, mentorship for boys and teenagers. He's a speaker trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, he trains adults. All right, and you can also find him doing personal development programs as well. He's also involved in life coaching. So if you want to know more about these things and you want to get some more details of how to, tap into these seminars and programs, then don't be afraid. Be sure to connect with him via WhatsApp 4800080. Also via email, Michael A.T. Stewart tlc@gmail.com. All right, he is ready, willing, and available for you, just to train you, ladies and gentlemen, and I know you would not regret it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's go on. I want to take the time to bow and let's go to God in prayer, because when you start and you involve God in everything that you do, it's going to be blessed. Let's take the time and go to God in prayer before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen. Let's pray. Almighty God, everlasting Father, we want to thank you so much for this lovely session. Thank you so much for allowing us to be able to sit here on our devices, wherever we are, to take in and to listen to this session, Father. We want to thank you so much for your strength. Thank you so much for the help that we have. And thank you so much for qualified and professionals like Michael Stewart taking his time and his energy to bring free seminars so that people can have development, so that people can have improvement and see improvement in their lives. Father, we want to thank you for all those who are looking on, all those who are logged on. We pray that they would be blessed by this session. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen, amen, amen. All right. Well, guys, I want to take the time to allow you to get your pens, your paper. I hope that is ready. I hope you're ready to go. All right. Good to be on the same platform with people like Cohen and Michael and Adrian. Let me see who we got here again. And Josiane. Good to be on the same platform with you. Sharon Simmons. That's lovely people out here. Good to see you guys. And good to be a part of this session with you guys. At this time, we want to invite the speaker. the man of the hour, the one to bring the information, the one to give you what you've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. I want to present to you at this time none other than the man himself, Michael A.T. Stewart. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Michael Stewart. Brother Mike, how you doing this morning? How you doing this morning, my man?
I am doing excellent, Leon. You know, Leon runs a 6 a.m. program whole week, and one would think that he would run out of energy by the afternoon. Yep, and even though it's a public holiday here, he had his own program this morning, still full of energy this afternoon. Thank you so much, Leon, for your support.
That's
and
what we do.
Yes, thank you. Quinn is a young man that I've met. I'm so proud of. I want to tell you, he's an exemplar. He's a sort of young man that we can be able to look up to. That the future of this country is in the hands of some very intelligent young people. And so therefore, Quinn, thank you so very much. All right, so I know that we've identified the number of people who are on from different islands, Bermuda, I see St. Lucia, a number of other places, St. Croix, and so on. I really want to hail out the people from the United Kingdom because it's practically night where they are now. And the fact that they could be here, wow, thank you all so very much for your turnout that we have here. So we want to talk about how to argue properly. How to argue properly. One of the things that is going to be common with every one of us is that we will encounter an argument. That's a principle. That's a fact of life that we will encounter argument. What I want to do is, before that we are finished here today, you must know whether you have been doing it right. Yes? And so I want to, as we had Leon saying, make sure you have your pen. Make sure that you take some notes. I'm going to give a presentation, and then we're going to take a break, a short presentation I'm going to give, and then we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back, and then I'll be able to give you the wrap up. So let's go to the screen at this time. So, is how to argue properly the topic that we are engaging today. You see, most people, they quarrel, they don't argue. Yeah? Quarreling and arguing is two different things. You see, there are some words that may be synonymous. We may call them synonyms, but they have different connotative meaning, meaning that they may not have the dictionary meaning in some cases, but you may have what they translate into. The word ignorant has its dictionary meaning that you do not know. But the connotative meaning, when somebody says you are too ignorant, is really to say you are hostile, you are almost stupid. Those are the connotative meaning. Quarrel is one of those phrases that we need to be able to look at. Quarrel is a heated argument or disagreement, typically about trivial issues. We could argue about toothpaste. We could quarrel about toothpaste. We could quarrel about some trivial things. And those things that are between people that are usually on good terms, which means both of us on good terms, and this quarrel, we allow the quarrel to bring a division between us. That's what quarrel does. Quarrels are altercation, squabble, wranglings. While these words mean a noisy dispute, usually marked by anger, quarrel implies heated verbal contention, stressing strained or severed relations, which may persist beyond the contention. Long after the issue is, you're still having problems in the relationship. Now, this is how most people do it. When you have finished quarreling, there's hatred, there is animosity, there's a number of fractured relationships, ruptured concerns, and broken affinities that take place because people allow themselves to quarrel. One of the things I like about argument is an exchange, and this is, when you Google it, you will find the meaning. It defines argument differently. It defines argument as an exchange of diverging or opposite views. So we're just exchanging views. So when we talk about politics, when we talk about vaccination, when we talk about gender and so on, We should be exchanging views. And yes, sometimes that also becomes heated, just as in quarrels, and sometimes we also become angry. We figure because the person has gotten angry or has become heated, that something is wrong. No, that's a human. We put our passion into some of the things we do. But at the end of it, we don't fall out. Why? Because people who understand argument knows this argument is just exchanging ideas. We might be a bit animated in exchanging it, but that is all it is doing. So it is a set of reasons given in support of an idea. So which means I must have enough information to back what I believe in the relationship, on the job, because this thing about quarreling and argument and so on really can apply to any sphere of relationships. Yes, churches and all, your youth groups. So it is a set of reasons given in support of an idea, action, or theory, which means when you get into an argument, you are out to prove your point. In a quarrel, you're really not necessarily out to prove a point, you know. Here's how quarrels end: in resentment towards the other person. Quarrels usually end in extreme anger, not just anger, but extreme anger, wrath. You feel emotionally whipped when you are finished quarreling. In the kind of quarrel that you and I and many of us have learned to engage in, there's frustration after. You almost don't want to see or be around the person. You don't want to live with the person again. How many husbands and wives have been quarreling so much that they are afraid to go home? How many times we've quarreled on the job that we don't even want the job again? How many times that in a quarrel or thoughts of doing something drastic, out of character, sometimes you could quarrel so much that somebody wants to commit suicide. Something must be wrong with that. If after that you have a point and you are trying to lay a point on the table that you want to commit suicide. Arguments don't do that. Quarrels do. Quarrels cause people to want to walk out of a relationship and a marriage. That's what quarrels do, not arguments. And I want to support that as we go on later. So an argument brings awareness of another person's side. Right, because we are exchanging ideas. And so some ideas you brought, I never had. And because you have brought to me an enlightenment, a positioning that I did not take into consideration, or I did not take it seriously, I am now the better off. So I'm now aware. Arguments also makes you feel felt. Why? Because in order for someone to argue intelligently, they need to hear the other side. Let me say that again. In a quarrel, you do not need to hear the other person's side. You just have to have a side. And while they are talking to give their side, you just don't have to listen. You just have to talk over them. Because you don't care about that side. So that's what quarrel does. I never learned from a quarrel. You will never learn from a quarrel because it is only your side that matters. But an argument always must be intelligent, and it requires me, in order for me to argue intelligently, I must know who I'm arguing with and what their position is. How could I therefore prosecute this argument properly if I have no idea what your position is? So it tells me that I need to listen to you to know where you're coming from. And that also makes the person feel felt. That's the term that we're using. An argument, the beautiful thing about an argument is that you gain insight from your argument. I now know something new. It doesn't mean that I have argument, I have to agree with everything that I hear. No, you don't need to. But you must have heard it. It makes you feel a sense of connection. Why? Because we are able to argue and not fall out. That's critical. And that makes you feel connected to people. What makes people feel disconnected is when they quarrel and the relationship is fractured. That makes people feel disconnected. So in an argument, the breakup really makes the makeup sweet because you have not injured the person's self-esteem, their spirit. You understand? Because a lot of spirits are broken in quarrels. A lot of people feel less than human beings. They feel insulted. So many words pass that make the person feel so attacked that by the time you are finished, the issue prevails, lives longer than the emotional state of the person you've been quarreling with. Let me say that again. We quarrel so vehemently that by the time we are finished cursing, carrying on, and dehumanizing the person, the issue that started that quarrel continues to persist while the relationship has met its demise. Then something is wrong. Something must be wrong with that method. That's why you and I need to really review it. Let me tell you the mindset of somebody who quarrels. And these are not completely exhaustive. Eh? There are others, but because of time constraints, we will have things to do. You see, persons who are quarreling, they are obsessed to make the other person feel how they are feeling. So you embarrass me. My aim in this quarrel is to embarrass you. You hurt me, I will hurt you back. I will tell a secret that you told me that I held for you, but now that you get me vexed, I will expose your secret. Yes, that's what happens many times, I'm telling you. Yes. So, what some people try to do, or most people do in quarrels, is they take the win so that you can lose. Whenever we quarrel, somebody must lose, and we want to make sure you are the one who loses in this. It's not about resolving issues, you know. It's not about solving a problem, you know. It's about winning, competing. It's just that their personality to quarrel, because that's how some people have grown up. They've grown up in a home of quarrel. They've gotten married, they move in a home, and they just bring all that quarrel mentality inside of the new home. They are just a quarrelsome bunch of people. And so they really don't know any other way to express themselves. From the time that they want to express themselves in a situation of disagreement, it must move straight to quarrel, must move straight to arguing, let me withdraw that word arguing. It must move straight to the whole aspect of cursing, foul language, and all of these terms that people use. Yes. A person who's quarreling can only see one side. We spoke about that already. And here's what, a person who's quarreling always have answers. They don't come with questions, they come with answers. Even they have so many answers that they can tell you why you did something to them. They are so intelligent that you would do something innocently, do something that has nothing to do with any surreptitious move on your part. And that person could tell you why you did it. Because they always have answers. They jump to conclusions. Yeah? But you see, somebody who is quarreling, they quarrel with high emotions and low logic. Very, very animated. High emotions, low logic. They get all hot, bothered, and sweaty. But however, if somebody who's arguing, they seek to defend justice, fairness. Yes, they may talk louder, because I don't want you to think that a person who's arguing is so collected and soft-spoken and so on. Yeah, they do get angry. And the Bible permits that. The Bible says, be ye angry and sin not. So nothing is wrong in the anger. Nothing is wrong in the raised voice. It's part of our human relations. But in all of this, You must be able to tell that I am seeking justice and fairness, not to win this point. Yes? Somebody who's arguing is interested in knowing facts. What are the facts? Not what my cousin friend said. But what are the facts? What are the fundamental issues we are dealing with? So therefore, because of that, they need to know the other side in order to argue intelligently. And if there's anything else that I figure stands out with a good arguer, is that they always want to know what the other side thinks, what my wife thinks, what my boyfriend thinks, what my boss thinks, what my worker thinks, what the member of the church thinks, what is their position? Because they know that if I'm going to get into this, I cannot judiciously deal with it, except I am aware of this. People who argue don't need to sit down about that. They just need to get straight into it and just start to argue, because once they have their side, that's all they need. I'm hoping that people are starting to line themselves up. What I want people to do is to sit down and ask yourself, am I a quarrelsome person, or am I a person who argues? One out of the two. When you leave here, be honest with yourself. And some people will begin to quarrel with themselves and start to say, I don't quarrel with myself, while they quarrel with themselves. Yeah? So, a person who's arguing always has questions. Always. If you go to court, the majority of things said in a court are in question form. Why? Because the lawyers are arguing. So they always asking questions for you to answer. Do you so and so? Where do you live? How old are you? What job do you do? Were you on Wednesday so and so date? Were you in so? Or where were you on such and such a day? They're always going with questions. Why? They're arguing. Here's what the quarrelsome person says. They always have answers. I know you went by so. They have an answer. I know you took my so and so. They have answers. You could tell people who are quarreling, full of answers. Why? Because they only have their side and they don't care about the other side. An arguing person is slow to come to a conclusion, while the person who is quarreling jumps to the conclusion. The reason why the arguing person is slow to come to conclusion, because they have to weigh the other side and their side. It is a faster route for persons who are quarreling to just come straight, because they only have one side and they only care about one side. So they can afford to come to a conclusion early in the game. Yes? The people who are arguing argue with low emotions and high logic. Notice the difference between the quarrelsome person. The quarrelsome person, they argue with high emotions, low logic. Person who is arguing, they argue with low emotions and high logic. So that is just the opening. And I want to now make a break, go back to our two great host and co-host. I suspect that they'll interact with you, and I want to come back with you now. And when we come back, we are going to tell you the reason why lawyers argue and can still go to lunch together. That's right. Why they argue and they can still go to lunch together. Back to you guys.
Wow. That's what we're talking about. This is some real stuff, ladies and gentlemen. This is some real stuff. Boy, we're hearing about arguments. You know, when people argue, as the man say, you know, it turn out in quarrel. You know, growing up, I saw so many arguments. In my short life growing up. And it either ends in one man or a woman having their feelings hurt or having their head bust. It's either one or the other. And so, you know, arguments don't really end good. It don't end good, and we need to learn to argue. Bring your point across. You know, you can be able to bring a point across. You can be able to convince someone by keeping your emotions down, speaking well, and saying what you got to say. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fuss, you don't have to cuss. All right, so I hope you're having a good time. So guys, this is what I want you to do. We're taking a little break now, but as we're taking this break, you know, it's not a break for you to go and get snacks, and we're not on that, you know what I'm saying? All right, right now what I want to do is ask you how you think this session is going so far. All right, I need you to put it in the text box. All right, let me hear what you're saying. Let me hear what you're saying. How you think this session is going so far? How you think, what you're expecting? Did it meet your expectation? Were you expecting something different? Let me hear what is happening to you. All right. What about you? What about you, Kuwait? How you think this session is going so far? What do you think about it?
Well, Leon, so far, my mind is blown. You know, like these are things that you basically see and you witness and you understand some aspect of it, but to see it put in writing in front of you so well, you know, brought across by Mr. Stewart himself.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's very detailed and it makes sense, as you said. You know, like I've seen many arguments and I've seen many quarrels, and the difference in both of them are very clear.
right.
Like the quarrels, you will see one slam a door and leave the home, or you know, see them size up to fight, what not. And the arguments, you will literally see them sitting in the same area,
Right.
still able to have a composed and, you know, collective and reasonable conversation. So it's pretty clear, the two. And as he said, I think, you know, when you sit and you really think about if you're a quarrelsome person or an argumentative person, I think that would help each individual a lot.
Wow. Well said. And so you know, this is a real special time. You know, you don't have topics like this coming up often, you know, topics to help you with stuff that you've been battling with. You know, we struggle with things and we don't know we struggle with it. You know, we think that arguments are supposed to be something you raise your voice, where, you know, you raise your voice with the other party, you know, you have to bust up, you have to get upset, you know. And so I'm really interested and I'm waiting to hear what Michael has to say when it comes to the lawyers. You know, why do lawyers argue and still they can eat together? Sounds interesting, you know. Really waiting to hear. Let me see what you got. Let me see what we got. Guys, you can put some stuff in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know if you've been enjoying this session. Let me know if it is meeting your expectation. Put some stuff in the chat as we take this break. We're going to be coming back with some more stuff. He's going to be dealing some more, getting into a different aspect of it. And also we're going to be taking some questions, so you can put your questions in Zoom and put your questions in a Facebook. All right. And we will take your questions and pose it to Michael in just a minute. All right,
Leon.
Yeah.
Excuse. Yes, I just wanted to add to what you said there. With, you know, topics like these really aren't discussed a lot.
Right.
You know, and the funny thing is, when you think about it, Leon, like arguments and quarrels are probably something you come into contact with most in your life, in your entire life. You know, so like we really need more of these kind of programs, and you know, kudos to this, you know. Wow,
so, you said it right. I'm seeing someone saying here, the session is going very well. All right, very good. It is dealing with some points I can relate to. Oh, I see. So you can relate to it, huh? All right. So so good to see that is happening at this point, that people are able to relate to what is happening here. Also, I'm seeing someone say, how do we get so we have some questions coming out here. Don't worry, I'll take that question in just a while. All right, great session, plenty good information. Good. Let me see what else we got here. vital stuff being shared. So far relatable. Yeah, everybody could relate to what is happening here. Very enlightening. Very good, very good. All right. So good to hear what you guys thought about it. So now let us get back to Michael, and let us hear what Michael got to offer. All right, so at this time we want to bring back our guest, our speaker, the man himself, Michael A.T. Stewart. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And let me thank all those on Facebook. I see a lady on Facebook say that she is very argumentative. How come nobody takes me for lunch? I think I will leave that question for Leon and Queen to answer when we finish this. All right. So I'm hoping that everybody enjoying so far. What we've established in the first session is how we do. And now we're going to go how we should do it. So that you can leave here, and before it is finished, I'm sure that Leon and Queen will be asking you, what's your action plan now? What is it you are going to be doing as an improvement? You know, there are some people quite okay with continuing to quarrel. It serves their interest. That's okay if that serves your interest. If breaking up those relationships along the way and getting into a situation where your people feel this kind of resentment coming from you, and where they feel that you don't like them and so on, and you want to do that with your children and your family, in a democracy, people have a right to do the things that make them feel comfortable. But if you really want personal development, if you really want to become better, if you recognize that the pain that we have left in people's hearts because of the way how we have spoken to them, and we have hurt them with words, and we have said some things that went deep into their heart, that sometimes even in quarreling with our children, we say some inappropriate things while they were small, and they become grown, big adults into marriage and have their own children and grandchildren, and the pain of what has been said during those quarrels still exists. People who argue never try to hurt the other person, because the personalities is not the issue. The issue is always the issue, and they focus on that. Right. So let's go into our second session now. I am so excited for you all that I think that I'm hoping that people will be leaving here with so much more than they came. So the question is, the reason why lawyers argue and can still go to lunch. Why? Number one, they only argue when they know what is the issue. Never before, ever, will a lawyer go into court and argue and have no idea what the charge is. Somebody who quarrels doesn't need to know the charge. They don't need to know what the issue is. They just need to feel angry. They just need to feel sad. They just need to feel offended. That's all they need. And they can just start an argument. That's the kind of overdrive that their vehicle has. But you see the person who's arguing, and the reason why the lawyer is able to go inside of there is because they walked in there knowing full well what the issue is. I want to suggest to people, before you get emotionally charged and you get into this thing that we want to call an argument, which is really a quarrel, I want you to start sitting down and finding out, what is the concern of my husband? What is it that bothers my wife? What is it that upsets my child so much? Why is mom so angry with me? Sit, and that is why people who argue always ask questions. People who quarrel say, I sure she vexed with me. I sure they jealous me. It's because they don't like me. They always have answers. So they quarrel on answers. People who argue ask for the facts. This is why they always have a brief. A lawyer always must have a brief. That is the brief that he submits to the court. That is he produces the facts of the case, produces the reasoning behind of it, and different perspectives. And would you believe, in a brief of a lawyer, they actually put in the perspective of the opponents of what likely they are going to come with. Why? Because they did the research. They know what the issue is. They know what the charge is. That is always known in advance. Therefore, people who argue tend not to just jump in spontaneously in an argument. They need time to assess it. So sometimes you just need to say, okay, let's discuss this later on tonight. Yeah? Because you know you are not properly briefed as to what it is. You are not in a position to be able to deal with it. Let's deal with this later. They're in possession of basic information to take the issue to an argument. Right? So they will argue, but I have the information to take it. They are aware of the other side's angle of argument. Why? Because they did enough questioning of the person. I notice you angry. What is it that makes you feel angry with me? And the person said, well, this morning when you were leaving, so took place, and so on. Well, I did not realize that. What should I have done? I felt that you would have done so. By the time you get all of that information, you are now in a position now to present your own argument in defense of yourself. But you must know. A suspicious WhatsApp message or a text may be enough to quarrel. All you need to do is just see a text. And then you can just fly off the handle and start quarreling. But it may not be enough to argue. The reason why lawyers argue and can still go to lunch is because they are not using some trivial things in isolation to create the argument. You must have enough information. Speaking to someone of the opposite sex, you feeling jealous is not grounds for the argument. Yeah? Because you think that you alone admire your spouse. The other people will admire the spouse. Your spouse, other people will want to talk to. That does not mean that there is something underhanded, surreptitious that is going on in the relationship. It's not enough. It's not enough for the argument, but it is enough for a quarrel. So why they have to talk to you? Why they couldn't ask somebody else? It's enough for a quarrel, but not enough for an argument. So I hope people are getting that point. Number two, they prepare themselves to argue. So do not get into the issue if you are not emotionally invested and prepared for the argument. There are sometimes you just had a hard day and you just need a little time out before you could get into the argument. You have not prepared yourself. Let your spouse know that, let your boss know that, let whoever know that, and so on, and say, listen, I'm prepared to discuss it, but I'm really not in the state of mind. Husband come home, he's looking for a quarrel. You don't want a quarrel. You don't mind arguing, but you don't want a quarrel. But you have had a hard day with the children. You've had a hard day on the job. And so you are burnt out emotionally. Do not get into an argument if you are not prepared. A lawyer makes sure they always prepare. They stay up at night, spend hours reading and preparing and so on. They use valuable time to research the issue. That's what lawyers do. And I'm not saying that you have to go and start Googling a set of things every time you get into an issue. Oh, let me just Google this. You don't need to do that. I'm not talking about that. But I'm just talking about having your state of readiness, collecting your thoughts. Find out how other people dealt with similar situation. You understand? Whatever it is you are quarreling with, it is not new to you. It is not new, but it may be new to you, but it is not new. Other people have dealt with all of the issues that we have dealt with and we have fought over. Wars and everything we have dealt with. somebody underpay you and they think you thought you were going to get a certain amount of thing, well, you could just research that. You could just pull your thoughts together and know how to defend yourself as to justify why you should get a certain amount of pay. They prepare themselves. They consider both sides. Yes? And then they frame the argument. Because why? They know what you are arguing about. They know your side. They have done their research. They've listened to you. They know you. This is why the Bible says, treat your spouse according to knowledge. That is information. You've gathered your information. You've been with your spouse a number of years. You know your spouse by now, for heaven's sake. This is why I'm always lost. When somebody is married 10, 15, 20 years, 6 years, 7 years, and their spouse say, I am so mad with my husband. And the husband says, I have no idea what she gets about. Well, how come you don't know? How come you never gathered that together? Or the man says that his wife gets him so upset. And she said, I have no idea what he's upset about. Then something is wrong with the information that is flowing. But I'm telling you, lawyers do know. Because they prepare. They are not going into the court and they are asking in the court, why is this client before us? I don't know. I just come to court. They tell me come to court. No, you must know. Even when a lawyer goes and sits in for another lawyer, they are briefed as to what this case is. So you must be emotionally ready. Are you emotionally ready for some of the issues that you encounter? I wonder. A quarrel can begin anytime, but an argument needs preparation. Thirdly, and I know that some of you may not be able to take notes fast enough, so if you wish, you can take a picture of the screen and then you can do your notes after. Let's take your phone, just take a picture of the screen. Thirdly, the reason why lawyers argue and they go for lunch is because they question their own argument. Let me say that again. They question their own argument. Yeah? Somebody who's quarreling never questions themselves. They don't need to question themselves because they only have one side anyway. But a person who is really out to give a good argument wants to ask themselves, am I right? Am I on target? You see? So they are always questioning themselves, and I never said doubting themselves. This is different. This is, am I doing this the right way? The lawyer always wants to know, am I doing it with the right procedure? Would somebody bring a constitutional matter saying that we did it the wrong way? Am I right? Somebody is going to bring a judicial review to a government because they did it with the wrong way. So every time with a lawyer, they always ask it, am I doing it the right way? So the way I'm behaving, the way you are carrying on, is that the right way? The way you are carrying on in front of your children, is it the right way? The way that you are calling and the neighbors are involved, is it the right way? The way how you're taking the information from home, taking it outside, and then now approaching your spouse after everybody else knows, is that the right way? Quarrel people don't really care about it. They just need to get it off their chest. People who argue always want to make sure, in the end of it, I must follow a certain procedure. And it must be the right procedure because I'm out for fairness, I'm out for justice. Lawyers know that if they cannot convince themselves, they cannot convince other people. That's what they do know. They ask themselves if they got it right. Did I get this right? Did I understand the situation properly? You don't want that the defense is coming in with a certain case. They are bringing a case for robbery. You don't even recognize, and you're going in arguing a case of embezzlement. But you didn't get it right. You never questioned yourself. Money is money. You rob money, embezzle money, same money. No, it's not. You understand? And sometimes even in relationships, we are arguing one thing. We are arguing, for example, let's say you have a couple and they're arguing on, well, quarreling more or less, quarreling on the topic of money and finance. Yes? Money to pay bills in the house. That's what the issue is. You come bringing up a topic of some woman or some man she has been with 5 or 10 years ago, or he has been with 5-10 years ago. How did that come into this? How did that start up inside of this conversation here? Clearly, you're not questioning your own self to know whether you are on target in dealing with this matter. And too many people have not been doing that. They just want another argument, and so therefore they put in the most convenient argument at this time that has nothing to do with the case. Not so with lawyer. They avoid apologizing to the court for getting it wrong. Sometimes they do have to apologize, but they try to make sure that they don't have to, because they try to make sure that they get it right. People who quarrel hate to admit they're wrong. So even though they recognize during the quarrel and so on, and they recognize, I misunderstood what he was saying. I misunderstood what she was saying. I didn't get it right. I beat the child, and when I now hear what the story is, I beat the wrong child. You understand? Or I punish the wrong child, whatever it is. But the parent doesn't go and see so. Why? Because it is just to still appear as a winner. That is arguing. But really, you want to always make sure that the procedure is right. So you ask questions. Who broke this glass? How did it break? What were you doing at the time? So you ask questions. And then you administer punishment based on the information that you got. A lot of children have been punished for things that they were not guilty of. And they have to live with the scars of that, because parents did not go with questions. They went with answers. I'll show you this miserable one here. Wah, 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 and beat the child. People quarrel hate to admit they are wrong. But people who argue, they try harder not to get it wrong. And if they admit that they're wrong. Why? Because the facts prove them wrong. The facts prove them wrong. That's why they'll apologize to the court. You ever had a situation where you're in a relationship with somebody and they lie? Let's say it's about an unfaithfulness. They lie. And as soon as you show them the facts, that they changed their mind. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody took something from you, stole something from you, and they lie, and says, not me, until the facts prove them wrong? That's how you argue. Produce facts. I'll give you one scenario that I know of. The woman says she smelled a certain perfume on her husband, and she's the one who buys the perfume for her husband, and that scent that he has on now, she never buys that scent. She doesn't know that scent. So the conclusion is another woman buying him perfume. Now that's what we call illogical conclusion. Just because you buy perfume and you smell a perfume scent that you did not buy does not now bring in a new scenario of a woman buying perfume. And she's quarreling and said, that is how he is, and so on, bam, bam. But when we have found out, the gentleman is saying, she buys me perfume. And she says, yes. And I know he does not buy himself perfume at all, because he doesn't like to go and shop. So he doesn't buy himself perfume, all right? So he says, yes. But she has bought me so many perfumes over the years. I've not used all of them. And some of them I've had for so long. Some of them are half bottle and full bottle, etc. And I just grab a bottle and I used it. So when you ask the woman, so do you ever remember buying him? Could you verify that you have never bought him this perfume with this scent? She admit, no, she can't really remember because she really buy him plenty too. So you're supposed to remember all of those cents and you are making this a quarrel, right? They don't question themselves, people who argue. But you must question yourself and say, well, probably, you know, it might have been a perfume. And she admit really that it is very possible in the end that she could have bought him that years ago because she can't remember all of it. So what was the quarrel about that now brought this relationship close to ending? Off of a sweet smelling perfume just brought bitterness between two people. It's amazing. Lawyers keep their cool, always. Because why? Because they are arguing issues. What causes people many times to lose their cool is because we take things personal and we start attacking personalities. We start attacking people. But they know their emotional triggers, these lawyers, because sometimes they could also get emotionally charged in the court. But they know what are those emotional triggers and they look out for it and try to control it. They reduce their emotional investment and increase their investment in the issue. I want to keep my eyes focused on issue. And anytime they come off the issue and start dealing with personalities, there is somebody who's going to rise up an objection, and the court is going to sustain the objection. You understand me? Yes. Thank you for that, my dear friend who just posted to tell me, women use cologne, men use cologne, and women use perfume. Right. Potato, potato. Thank you very much. Right. They're not going to curse and carry on in court. No lawyer is going to curse and carry on in court. Why? Because they're in a court. They are decent people. We are all professionals. The prosecutor and the defense lawyers, we are professionals. There's no need to curse and carry on. You are husband and wife. You all are married. There's no need to curse and use foul language at each other. You are a parent, you are a child. Why should we carry on like this? You are employer, I'm employee. Why are we carrying on like this? You see? So a person who argues, no, let me keep me cool because the relationship still exists. The issue is in question, but the relationship is not. I really hope that this point gets home to everybody because too many relationships are broken because we destroy each other while the issue persists. So they maintain decency and decorum. That's why they could afford to go to lunch after. They do not verbally attack the person they're arguing. Of course not. They develop self-discipline because they also have emotion. Yes, they have this self-discipline. So even if there's something is said offensive, they are able to deal with that in a very dignified way, in order to be able to say, well, the person has just impugned, the person has just impugned my motives, Your Honor. I'm saying that I have dishonorable motives. I want you to therefore protect me, therefore, by the court. Yeah, they have a way of they saying their thing to keep their decorum. They do not make excuses for their excessive attitude and behavior. When people quarrel, they feel they need to justify why it is right for them to carry on like that in that unsavory way. Everybody does behave a different way, and so on. I have to speak my mind, and so on. And when I vex, I vex. And so therefore I could say anything. Yes? I could insult you anyhow. Why? Because when I vex, I'm vexed. Number 4, lawyers seek common grounds. Why? Because they pick their battles. And they pick a battle that is on common ground. They know how that they cannot fight and win all battles. So therefore, only one case is being argued at this time. All other matters must relate to that case. You cannot argue every wrong thing the person has done in their life. Everything that has offended you with the person, you cannot put that in the argument on the table on the same day, same time, and think you are going to get anything. Never happen. Find a common ground. If the issue is that you came home and the place is dirty, leave it at that. And let's see if we could find out why is the place in this condition. If the issue is that your husband has come home late, could we just go into question mode? I notice you late. Is everything okay? Go into question mode. Get the facts. And upon that, then you proceed from there. But don't bring in the fact that he has come home late, and you're now bringing in the fact that he never give you no money for the support of the children. The school had PTA and he never show up and so on. All of that together at the same time? No, you can't do that. The court is going to rule irrelevant. 5. A lawyer never walks out of the court because they are angry or when they realize they're losing the argument. People quarreling do that. They pick up the bags, they jump in the car and they go. They leave and they go by their mother. They walk out the house, slam the door. Why? We never called off this argument. The person just walks out of it. The reason why lawyers can go to court is because there is a certain amount of respect that they have that I will not walk out on you. When you are in a discussion with your spouse, with your partner, with your children, with whosoever it is, and you just have to pick up and walk out. This is not parliament. Parliamentarians do that. But this is not parliament. This is a family. You understand? This is a family in a workspace. This is a church group and so on. So we stay in the argument. We stay inside of there, if only to demonstrate respect for the person. And if you feel so much that your emotion is getting carried away, you can ask for an adjournment of the case. You can ask for just adjourn this. Could we adjourn this because I'm really tired? It's 10 o'clock. We've been at this since 4 o'clock since we came home from work. It's 10 o'clock and I'm really tired. Could we continue this tomorrow? Get an agreement for us to now adjourn this and start back tomorrow. They stay until a decision is made to adjourn the arguments. Lawyers staying shows respect to the court and to those in the argument. Walking out shows disdain and disregard. Number 6, lawyers do not make the argument personal. We spoke about that, so we wouldn't say on that. They stick to the issue. The other lawyer, family, life does not arise. So you cannot be a lawyer arguing a case. You know that another person, your other lawyer, your opposing lawyer, their wife put them out. But you are arguing a case for a client inside there. That's the issue. And you shift to the lawyer's wife get put out and before the court here. That is a fact. That those are true, but it is irrelevant to this discussion. You see? So lawyers make sure that they don't make the argument personal. It's got to be the issue. So even if the other lawyer's spouse put him out, that is what it is. Number 7, lawyers are conscious of their tone and body language at all times. They determine that they will control how they speak. They control their voice, their facial expression, and their body language. Sometimes when people quarreling, their body language shows hate, disdain. I can't stand you. I hate you. I can't even live with you. You could see all of that inside of all of the body language, that they don't even care. The children are watching that. They don't care who's seeing that and so on. They go on their jobs of people and they carry on like that quarreling. But lawyers, the reason why they could go for lunch is because they manage that. They may feel it, but they know how to manage it. And we need to know how to manage it. Hey, if I manage that, it's because I'm a hypocrite. No. Decent people know how to manage. The Bible says, if a man does not learn how to control his emotion, he's like a city that is broken down and has no walls. Yeah? Because a city in those days that was surrounded by a wall was well protected. Jericho itself was a well protected thing until God threw it down. But then otherwise, without God, Jericho was well fortified. But when you broke down the wall, Jericho became bare, became vulnerable. And so when somebody's emotion, they can't control their emotion, they are subject to invasion by any and everybody. All somebody has to do is just say something that offends you. And brrr, you start to quarrel. You just lose it. It's because you don't have the self-control. So lawyers know they need to control that. Lawyers know that they know that who are the subjects of the argument. By that I mean, here's what I mean by they are the subjects of the argument. In a court, only bona fide persons must appear before the court to be part of the argument that is taking place. You can't have somebody passing through the court in the audience and have an opinion on what the argument going on up there and then put them out inside of that. That is unheard of. So two people, husband and wife, everything. Who are the people, the subjects of this? In the court, they call it locus standi, not local, locus standi. So they do not call pure persons in an argument who do not have locus standi, which means they do not have capacity to bring an action or to appear in the court. Let me tell you why that is important. What right does a girlfriend, let's say that a man has an outside woman. Yes, that is wrong. But let's say that he has an outside woman. Or the woman has an outside boyfriend. It always would baffle us as to how that outside person can dare call the wife of the person to start a quarrel with the wife. You understand? You understand the insult? What locus standi does that person have to call me as the husband to start to argue with me? Oh, you're not treating your wife properly. A man calls me to tell me that I'm not treating my wife properly, and that is why she's with him. But you're out of place. You understand? You don't have locus standi. You don't have local standi, because what right does a mother have to make rules for her son's family? He's married and so on. You don't have locus standi. What business do children have in the argument of parents? You don't have locus standi. You don't have the right to appear before the court during this argument. So here's what, as we conclude now, and I'll ask my host and co-host to stand by. Here's what we conclude in understanding the rules of argument. It is clear that it brings a certain level of intelligence. It takes a certain level of intelligence and discipline to argue properly. The rest of us can just argue. We can just quarrel. Because we don't need the intelligence. We don't need the discipline. We could just quarrel. And we could just have a good time just quarreling. It is clear that arguments should take some time to engage in. It is not wise to spontaneously argue. Let's be clear. It is clear that you get to choose if you want a quarrel or if you want an argument. Somebody can't choose for you. And I end with this verse, Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 11. For those people who figure they must say what is on their mind and everything that is on their mind, because if they don't say, it's because they are hypocrites. No, you don't have to say everything that's on the mind. The Bible says, a fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise man keeps himself under control. Let's learn to argue properly. Let's stop the quarreling. Thank you very much.
Wow, 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 wow. Oh my word, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're talking about. That is exactly what we're talking about. How to argue properly. That is exactly what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. That was your one and only Michael A.T. Stewart. Guys, I want to highlight something here, because while he was talking, somebody came out and made a point. And to me, this is a really good point. And no better person to say it than a woman. Listen to what she says. She says, this is on Zoom. She says, to be honest, women can be all over the place sometimes, LOL. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to keep that in mind, especially you ladies. I want you to keep that in mind. When you guys argue, this is exactly it. This can be the case so many times. You can be all over the place sometimes. Sometimes you just want to, just deal with this situation, this at hand. But you want to jump Tom, Dick, and Harry. You want to go all over the place. And I'm glad there's a woman that come out and say it. I just had to throw that to cause a little bacchanal here this evening, But nonetheless, thank you so much, Brother Mike. We got some questions for Brother Michael at this time. All right. I hope he is on standby. I hope he's ready to answer some questions. We got some questions for him because it has been coming out on YouTube. It has been coming up on Facebook. And I got some on the Zoom platform as well. All right, but Brother Mike, we have a question here we want to drop on you. First things first. I want to give you this one. How do we address dealing with someone that walks off in the midst of you while trying to discuss a matter? How do you address? No, I could give my view on the topic, but I would like to hear, the presenter giving his view on it as well. How do you address? I would like to hear Queen. Queen, I would like to hear your view on it as well. How do you address dealing with someone that walks off in the midst of trying to discuss a matter? Let me throw my view on it. Let me throw my view on it. I hear somebody in the chat, somebody in one of the chats saying, you save the talk. When they come back, you start the argument over again. And I don't mind that at all. But let me tell you, if you're trying to deal with a situation and someone walks off, you can't talk to the wind, You can't talk to the wind. You can't talk to yourself. At the end of the day, it takes two to have an argument. And if the other person is not willing to talk, not willing to discuss, not willing to reason, then what are we going to do? You're going to leave it alone. When the emotions cool down, as Brother Mike was saying earlier, then it may be a better time to sit, to chat, to reason. So you might get a better argument later on when things cool a little bit, rather than trying to force the argument in the heat of the situation. I don't know what you guys think.
Okay, well, I like what you said there, Leon. For me, I would say, people often need time to cool off in arguments. And if that person's tolerance is lower than yours and they end up storming off, I would say we have to kind of support each other in highs and lows, So give them a 20 minutes and then you approach them again, or if you can wait, you write down whatever you have to write down, if so, and you give them the time needed. But I don't think it's ever right to leave things like that though. It had to be addressed in the short term to me, so that is my 2 cents.
So what a court does is that it creates rules, and so therefore many times in relationship we haven't sat down and agree on the rules. So let's say husband and wife, we could make a rule and say, listen, even if we fall out, even if we have an issue, do not leave the marital bed to sleep in the next room. We could agree that we could stay there. This is a rule up front. So that rules sort of set the boundaries that we'll operate with. So we'll say, we will acknowledge that we are going to fall out. And let us be comfortable with the fact that we may fall out. But let's set a distance as to how far we will go with that fallout. And so we can also set that rule with this argument. Let's make this rule that if we are quarreling, well, if we are arguing, because I'm hoping that we'll choose to argue instead. If we are arguing, let's agree that none of us would walk out of that argument before we sit down and agree for us to call it off and restart it at a predictable time. Don't put it for indefinite, because some people think if we don't deal with it, it will go away. It doesn't. Let's put it for a predictable time. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Let's set aside that time. And I think that has helped many couples. The problem is that we never had rules to agree with in the way how we operate in the families.
Wow. This is good. Really good. Boy, I hope you're enjoying this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not enjoying this, then I don't know. I'm sorry for you, I don't know. You better get your act together, because this is good stuff coming out here if you want to be effective. So listen to this one. Someone asked a question. If someone comes to you with an issue, but then the whole topic changes, what do you do then? Pretty similar to to what this person was saying on Zoom. The ladies like to go all over the place. Well, I want to tell you this. She is correct, all right? But if we have a situation where the topic changes, what do we do when the topic changes? Well, I will show him my 2 cents first, of course, So if I'm in an argument with someone and the topic changes, I would ask if we could deal with one thing at a time, because sometimes it could get confusing trying to deal with several issues. And what I would try to do is get to the base of what is really the issue, because what we think is the issue sometimes is not really the issue. It's like a side effect of what is really the issue. So the issue is there on the line there, and it causes you to be upset about different things. So I'm passing. No, this is not true. I'm passing in the living room, and I tripped over, say, my wife's work shoe, and I start to quarrel about the wife work shoe and all that kind of stuff. Why are you leaving the work shoe in the middle of the house? And I'm starting to quarrel, and we have a big argument going on, and we arguing about the work shoe. But all the time, I'm annoyed because she did something yesterday that we didn't talk about. So I'm annoyed about it. So I'm tripping over the work shoe now, and I'm finding something to quarrel about. So the work shoe is not really the problem, but that situation that happened yesterday. So when the topic jumped from one thing to the next, it is good to try to find out what is exactly the problem. What is really the problem? And don't try to discuss and sort out something that is, if I should say, peripheral, something that is really not the issue, because it would be a waste of time. All right, so that's just my take on it. If the topic changes, you try to get to what exactly is the issue and deal with that, then you can move on to something else. It's always good to as you would do in mathematics, you do one part of the sum first, and then you move on to the other part, then you bring things together. I don't know what Queen had to say about that, but to me, deal with one at a time. What do you say, Queen?
Well, Leon, I agree with you, and to me, right, the jumping all over the place is a kind of spiraling that people do, and they, as you rightfully said, it's a projection of the deeper hurt, the deeper pain, or the deeper issue.
Yeah.
Right. So when people start to project all over the place, it's really just to sit down with them and really ask them, like what really is the problem, and
right.
That, to me, that is all you could do.
Right.
Right. I really hear from the specialists here.
So I agree with you all that we need to decide which is on the table. So what you could do, you could actually ask the person which one of these topics you prefer to deal with now.
Right.
Because they are the ones who may need to choose as to which one.
Right.
As a little boy, I grew up country life. So you'll have yard fowl, and so when you're ready to eat, your parents will send you outside. You have to catch a cock in the yard of a fowl, and that is what is going to be killed to be cooked. So as children, we would use target practice, pelting the cock in order to be able to injure it so that we could catch it, kill it, to cook it. But sometimes you'll pelt one cock, you injure the cock, but you see another cock closer inside, and you start to pet this next one, but one has already left injured. You know, and sometimes your parent will ask you, decide which cock you want to kill. You understand? Because what you'll end up with, you could end up with 4 or 5 different fowls in the yard, injured, suffering, because you don't know which one you want to deal.
Yeah.
Is that? And that is what happens with many issues. We start an issue, we never finish it. It is injured, it is there, it has raised up emotional memory, but and then we discard. And then we go on to a new topic, and we injure that too. It has created enough upheaval again. It has resurrected some memories in us, but we never finish it. And before we know it, we have all of this emotional turmoil going on inside of us. None of them resolved. So just decide, and somebody has to decide. I am not discussing more than one topic. Right. Be insistent on that. Not more than one topic. And then you take it from there.
Wow. Well, that is true. That is good stuff. And I love the part when you say, let the person decide. I think that is a crucial point right there. Let the person decide. All right. So I saw someone saying on the chat, guys, please know, we women, and guys, listen to this, is the women themselves talking and not me. I'm just reading their stuff. All right. So guys, please know, we women are not hysterical. We're very historical. Watch all yourself. No, I could attest to that. You know, women can be very historical. It's like they don't forget stuff. You know, while I don't want to make it a sexist, talk, but while, we're talking about argument, women, when they arguing about something, they will drag things from the 14th century, ladies and gentlemen. They will drag things from before the birth of Jesus Christ and bring it up in that argument. They love to bring things up from the past. So you are correct. Whoever said that in the chat, you are correct, not me. I'm just saying what you said. All right. You're very historical, and I agree. Fully agree. I have another question here.
Somebody just saying, Camille Davis pointing out to us that there are some men who bring up issues from all over the place. Making it difficult to stick to one topic and get to the heart of the issue. And she is so correct.
That is true. That is true. I'm glad you're the one to deal with that. I love to highlight the points of the women here, because yeah, just throwing in a little trouble here. But we got a question here as we were looking at emotions, Brother Mike. And we're talking about, arguing with emotions, waiting until your emotions are low. We're looking at stuff like that, and we made the point with lawyers, they argue and they show a lot of discipline. One person asked the question, how do we then get rid of the emotion? Now, I don't know. I don't know of any way you could get rid of emotion. That thing is built in your system. You don't get rid of it. It is there. I mean, we could try to control it, and you use the word discipline earlier dealing with the lawyers, and that discipline is what going to help us control the various emotions that arise when the anger want to come out. You keep yourself calm, you compose, you control yourself. But I don't think we could get rid of emotions. I think we are able to control our emotions. What do you think, Wayne?
Well, let me hear Queen.
Yeah, well, I don't believe you can get rid of the emotions, but I think, and the person could always clarify that from what I'm understanding from what they're asking is how to get rid of the fight or flight mode that people get into when their emotions are heightened. And I think for that, it's a matter of time. Like, you need to know your tolerance and know yourself and give yourself enough time to come out, to kind of step back from that fight or flight mode. Like, I think research has showed that it requires a minimum of 20 minutes, right? Like, you do your deep breathing or whatever relaxes you, whatever at all that relaxes you. And when you hit that extreme emotional heightened state of fight or flight, you take the step back, and within that period of relaxation, it kind of resides, and you are able to now go back, and your perspective on everything would change, because fight or flight mode really changes and alters how the mind perceives everything and how you feel about everything being said and said, you know. So Mr. Stewart, over to you.
Yes, let me tell you, we are made up, and I agree with you, we are made up of emotions. And what we have to be cognizant of the fact that we must have tempered emotions, trained emotions, disciplined emotions. So it's okay to have the emotion. The problem is not the emotion. The problem is an uncontrolled, unharnessed emotion. And somebody who has that control can afford to be inside of an argument and manage that quite well. What we don't have is that people feel they are justified when they are vexed to say what they want, behave how they like, and insult people as they like because they are vexed. That's the quarrelsome people. And those are the people who always are the ones injuring cocks in the yard, injuring people, and having people feeling so hurt and pained because of the fact that they feel attacked. You see? And that is what we need to change.
Wow. Good. All right. So I'm seeing another. Let's try to wrap up these questions here. Somebody saying, would you agree that some manipulators are good at arguing? Also, how can you distinguish manipulators who are good at arguing? Yeah. Sometimes people who quarrel are victim of argumentative manipulators. Oh my goodness.
That is one question from one person, or there are two questions you just throw in there?
Well, the person asked first if you would agree that manipulators are good at arguing, and how would you distinguish a manipulator?
Right. So a manipulator is one who willfully operates in a way to use deception in many cases and appear logical. Right. This is my explanation.
Right.
At the same time. But there's an underhanded deception that they are taking. For example, somebody may come to you and say, listen, I see you're having a little money problem and so on. I come to your store and I'm asking, you have anything cheaper? And they say, well, I see you have a little money problem. So here what, I like you. You look at a nice film. You look at a decent person. We have this across here that is reasonable. It might be within your pocket, and I could sell you it for $700. I mean, I will lose on it, but I got take the loss. I will sell it for $700. And you feel so good that the person was so kind to you that you put out your last $700 and pay for it. And then you walk out, and while you're walking down the street, you pass into a store just looking for something, and you see the same item for $450.
Oh boy.
Yeah? The person used the nice talk up front so that you will not double check yourself that this charge may be too high. You automatically thought that nice talk would have also resulted in a cheaper charge. What they did, they carried up the price on you. They manipulated you. And there are some people who are married to manipulators. They know to talk the talk. You know, when a man says to a woman, I'm the only man who will ever put up with you. And sometimes a woman actually believes that. And she doesn't leave. Because she said, well, you know, I just really have some problems and some issues in my life, and I just really make some mistakes, and he really does put up with me, and probably somebody else would not put up. He manipulated you. You see? So that is not a person who is good at arguing. That is a person who has a separate skill of being manipulated.
Wow. This is good stuff. Let's try to wrap up with this final question that I'm seeing here. How do you, before I go to the question, I see someone has a a comment here. If a person keeps bringing up other issues during a conversation, that often means these issues are still on her mind. Well, that person is referring to is a woman. The issues are still on her mind, and she often hasn't been given a safe space to share those emotions or feelings, or been able to process them with the person she is talking to. I understand you. I feel you, Marissa Stacy. All right. This final question comes from Ovel.
Just before you go on there, so I hear Marissa is her name, you said?
Yeah.
I hear Marissa. I want to just help Marissa to also understand that there are some people who bring up things from the past, even though they have been discussed and supposedly resolved, but they have not built themselves to release it. They need to always go back to the past because they keep holding on to it. Even though you talk about it 9 times,
right,
90 times, you sit down, you give them all the answers that they want. Next 2 weeks, they feel sad, or so there's a quarrel, and they're going back to it again. There are some people hold on to the past, and they need to take responsibility for that. So I also agree with what you said. She said that there are some people who did not get ventilation of the issue. They did not get a chance to release it. And so that's why they keep bringing it up. But there are 2 sides of that situation.
Wow. Good. So we have a final question. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for participating, for joining us in this lovely session. We really appreciate your questions, your comments, your feedbacks, guys. We really appreciate it so much. Good to know that you're enjoying the session. This was specifically organized for you who want to learn how to argue and be effective in arguing. All right, if you bust the woman head or you bust the man head, you're not going to be effective. You might think you win, but you ain't win nothing. All right, the issue is still there. All right, so avoid raising your hands, raising your fist, avoid raising your voice, and avoid hurting feelings. It will cause much more problems. All right, we have one final question. How do you deal with a person, let me rephrase. How do you deal when one person is quarreling and another person is arguing, referring to the right way to argue? How do you deal with that? Is it okay for one person to walk out then? Wow, so we have a situation here now before us where one person is actually trying to reason, trying to argue and bring across points and deal with the situation, and another person just quarreling, just rambling. All right, well, they kind of making me remember a situation here, but let me leave that one out of it. All right, so you have one person quarreling, just fussing and getting on, and the other person just trying to argue, trying to reason, trying to figure things out, trying to find out what's the problem, trying to explain his or herself. How do you deal with something like that? I think I'll let Queen start with this one. I'll throw Queen on this one first.
I like how you throw about the boss here. I like how Alright, well, boy, what to say, boy? My grandpa always used to say that it takes 2 to quarrel, it takes 2 to argue, right? And I guess if you are trying to argue and someone is trying to quarrel, you all clearly aren't on the same page. So someone would have to be the more reasonable one in that situation, and most likely it's gonna be the person who is trying to argue, because that person would be taking a different approach. So I think whoever is the one arguing, it's in that scenario, it's their job to know how to work with that. If they be more reserved and let the quarrel blow over before and let the person cool long before they approach them, or that's it. What do you think about that one, Mr. Stewart?
Well, I agree with that statement that it takes 2 to tango. Tango is a dance, and so it takes 2 to be in that tango dance, and some people say it takes 2 to argue, which means therefore that to get a quarrel between me and you, you require my cooperation. To get an argument, also, you need my cooperation. If you want to quarrel, I can do one out of two things. Give you my cooperation and quarrel with you. And while quarreling with you, I'm asking why you like to quarrel so much. You understand? But I'm giving you my cooperation in the process. I can make a decision. This is a quarrel. A quarrel never ends well. I am not going to give you my support. I will not give you my vote. I will not give you my cooperation with it. I'm withdrawing out of it. Now, if you can quarrel with yourself, then you have a mental problem and my support is not going to help you. You need another person to get involved and cooperating with you. So that's my unequivocal stand on a situation like that when the people want to quarrel. Only somebody who wants to argue and argue by the rules, I am going to cooperate with.
Wow. You know, yeah, you know, sometimes the little quarrelers feel good. I don't know how they feel about that.
You are so right.
I don't know how you feel about that, but sometimes the little quarrelers feel so good. I mean, sometimes I just have my wife worked up and as good Lord, I don't know why this is the time I'm looking to bring this out. So she looking at the program online and she now hearing this. But sometimes I just have my wife worked up because the little quarrel feeling good, you know, when I could, you know, solve the issue fast, you know, easy, simple. You know, I just getting into the quarrel and, you know, for no reason, and I'm making no sense. I am not making any sense, but I'm just quarreling because the little thing just going good, you're feeling good, you know, the energy raising and all of that. And, you know, but I guess it's because the makeup does be sweeter after the fight, you know. But that's just me, guys. That's just me. I'm not telling you to go ahead and just fight for no reason, quarrel for no reason, right? But Queen and Michael did excellent. Oh gosh, I seen one more question here. Let me see the time. All right, we might have time to take this final quick question. What about someone who never responds, even knowing the truth is out in an argument? How to deal with that? Someone who never responds. Oh my word. You know, there are people that don't respond in an argument, and for various reasons. I'm guessing. Like myself, I'm the type of person that, you know, when we're arguing, I would rather deal with a situation, you know, when I'm feeling good, you know, when I'm stable and all of that. You know, there are other people, I don't want to call names. There are other people that just want to deal with it now, right here and now. I would rather, okay, take a break. Let me drink some cold water. You know, let me clear my head and we come back and we talk a little bit. You know, that's the type of person I am. So if we get into an argument, you know, immediately while, you know, emotions are raised, the blood running, you know, heavy through the veins, hot. If that happens, when you start to ramble and you start to argue, you know, I would just keep my cool. I would not argue. I would not answer, you know, because I'm already upset and I don't want to say anything out of the way. I don't want to respond in any way that would cause any other problems or further arguments. So I would keep quiet. All right. That's one reason why someone would keep quiet. There are other reasons, as you said, when the truth comes out. Mm-hmm. Maybe the person just don't know how to respond to the truth. You know, okay, you know my business now. You catch me here fair and square. I don't know what I going and say now. You know, well, just keep quiet. You know, so there are different reasons why people keep quiet, and these are just two that I am recognizing here. What about you, Queen?
Well, okay, so the question is, if you bring the truth to someone, right, and they don't respond, right? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I guess as you said, Leon, they were caught and don't know how to respond. That is how I would perceive that in that scenario. You know, yeah. I tell you the truth and you all of a sudden you have nothing to say. Like, so, but as you said as well, there can be other reasons, and yeah, like I personally would perceive it as you were caught in a lie or something and you don't know how to respond.
And
Mr. Stewart?
And then again, before we go on to Mike, then again, the scenario is this. You know, what is the truth? You know, we're talking about, you know, this is the truth. I lay the truth out on the table and you don't know how to respond. Is that really the truth, or did you perceive that to be the truth? Do you believe that is the truth? You know, are you making assumptions that is the truth? You're not waiting for the person to give their side, but you're assuming I tell you the truth and you can't respond. So the next question is, what is really the truth?
As you say that, Leon, right? One thing I've realized about quarrelsome people is that they are storytellers. They are the best storytellers in the world. They literally would create an entire story and movie in their head,
right,
just while they're arguing. And as you said there, what is the truth? Because you could think that I'm quiet because I'm wrong and I have nothing to say, but I can be quiet because I am baffled by how you could come to that conclusion. Right? And you will say that, and then you will go on and say that is why the thing and blah 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 blah. And you're quiet because you're guilty, and you're quiet because you're this and you're that. And so it really falls in that garden. Like at the end of the day, what really is the truth? And can your truth and my truth be different but still the truth? That is the next question.
Wow. Let's hear from the big man himself. Well, the small man. Well, let's keep it bigger.
Truth is original information. Yeah? Whether or not you know what that original information is does not change truth.
Right.
So you could say something that is true to you and find out that it is not true. For example, you could have seen somebody running from the scene of a crime, and you saw the person with a knife with blood on it rising from the person who was on the ground, and they are running. And you could say you saw the killer. Right. But you may find that that is what we call an untruth. It is not a lie. You understand? It is an untruth because of the fact that you said what you genuinely and reasonably come to the conclusion with. But it could have been that the person came upon the body, shocked when they saw the body, picked up the knife that was that had impaled the person, and then when they heard you walk in, did not want to be charged with the crime and took off. You understand? They never killed the person. They never was a part of it. They had no idea who took it. And then you made the conclusion. But the original information still exists as to who killed the person. So sometimes when we call something truth, we tell ourselves because we think it is true, then everything else does not matter. When you yourself may not be in full possession of the facts. So I agree with what Leon has said there. And there are some people who, even though in the face of truth, because they are more into quarrel, they would not admit to it. They will go down lying.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our session. This was a beautiful seminar. I'm enjoying myself. I don't know about you. You know, this was a wonderful time. Guys, I want you to take the time right now. I want you to take the time. Give it up for your boy, Michael A.T. Stewart. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your boy, Michael. He is the man himself. You know, guys, it was a wonderful time spending it with you, and you know, taking your comments, listening to your view on this situation. Somebody gave me some trouble in the chat here. They say, Leon, it was the truth. Why you sugarcoating? Well, I just saying, brother and sister, I just saying. All right, go. So guys, I just want to give it up once again for your boy Michael A.T. Stewart. Give it up. All right. This was an excellent session. Ladies and gentlemen, also, we just want to remind you before we bring things to a total close, we just want to remind you at this time, you know, you can contact Brother Michael Stewart. You can contact him if you have any, query, if you want to get involved in any of the mentorship programs. There are several programs that he does, and you can find yourself in one of them. All right, you can clearly see he is well qualified and well trained, a motivational speaker, a certified mediator, a trained speaker by Les Brown. I told you this man was trained by the big guns, guys. All right, licensed marriage officer, certified leadership coach, trained by John C. Maxwell. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to hook up with Michael A.T. Stewart via WhatsApp 4800080, or you can connect with him via website michaelatstewart.com. all right, or you can find him on email. You can connect with him via email michaelatstewart@gmail.com. Please, he do private counseling on Zoom anywhere, any day, anytime. All right, and you also provide online professional workshops and personal development training. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael A.T. Stewart for you. But also, he is doing something really special additional to that. All right, he also deals with young men, as we mentioned earlier. He does that mentorship programs for boys and teenagers. All right, he trains adults. All right, he's a speaker training adults, to speak, to stand before an audience, to present themselves well, and he's excellent at that, by the way. A lot of people have been going to him for training. Also, personal development programs, he's involved in that. Life coaching, oh boy, you better get to the man if you need some coaching on how you live your life. If you're having some problems, you better find yourself at Michael's door. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure the details are on there. You can find him via WhatsApp, email, and of course his website. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we also want to present to you something, the upcoming event. Money matters. Money matters. If you tell me money don't matter, then I'll tell you you're crazy. Upfront, straightforward, money matters. If you want to send your children to school, money. You want to take a new course, money. But guess what? Even to go to your job to make money, it takes money. So ladies and gentlemen, money matters. So the 9th of October 2021, we're going to be having this wonderful workshop, ladies and gentlemen, and that is going to be dealt with Michael and Deanna Durham. Wow, I'm looking forward to this session. This is going to be a really great session. So money do matter, and you better stop living from paycheck to paycheck. Change your money mindset and jump on this session. You can get onto the session the very same way. You register via the website and prepare yourself for this beautiful session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I just want to say thank you to every single one of you for joining us. Before I go on to thanking every one of you and closing things off, I want to invite Queen to give thanks to Brother Michael, our speaker. All right, we'll invite Queen to say thank you to our speaker, and then we'll bring things to a close. All right, Queen?
Okay. Mr. Stewart, I would like to thank you on behalf of everyone on this platform. This was amazing. It was a lot of mental food. And as we said in the beginning, it's also a topic that hasn't really been touched in my life personally. So it was a real good mind opener. You were very clear and I understood everything, and I'm sure everyone else appreciates the information they got here and understands it as well. And I would just like to say thank you. Keep doing God's work, keep doing your work, and keep helping to develop people and young men in to be specific, and people in general in everything you do. And thank you.
Wow, wow. And of course, we want to say thank you to all those on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all those viewing from Grenada. And of course, Trinidad and Tobago, those from the UK, and I'm seeing people from all over the place. Guys, we want to thank you for joining us here. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit here. I hope you came with your pen and your paper. If not, you can always go over on YouTube, on Facebook, and you can view the session all over again. Have some fun with it. I promise you, you won't regret it. I hope those of you who had your pen and paper, I hope you'll be able to use this to go on making your life better. That is just it. Have better conversations, better end result in your arguments. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So thank you so much, guys. I'm seeing people saying great sessions. They thoroughly appreciate it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Keep it going, guys. Keep it going, guys. And if you're on Facebook, put some hearts in the chat for your boy Michael Stewart and our co-host Coane Daniel. Wonderful, wonderful job today. Thank you so much. Blessings flow to every single one of you. All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much for your patience. We pray that God continues to bless you, and we pray that you will continue to be a blessing to others. All right, so this is what we got. We will be closing off on the social media now, but for those who are on Zoom, you can remain as we discuss and interact. Let us hear what you think about as a matter of fact, let me just take I'm just going to give you that extra 5 minutes, please. Just an extra 5 minutes just for you. This is just for you. All right, those of you on Facebook, quickly let me hear what you think. Just put your stuff in the chat. Let me hear what you thought about the discussion, what you thought about the seminar. Let me know what you thought about it. I already know that you thought it was really good, but let me know what you thought in a little bit more detail. Was it meeting your expectations? Let me know a little bit. For those of you on Zoom, we will be having a little chat in just a while, but just for those on Facebook and on YouTube, I just want to know quickly what you thought about the session. Just give me a quick feedback. All right, boom, big it up, big up, big up, big up. All right, that's what I'm seeing up in here. So you're seeing some people getting on about this session here. People enjoying this session, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, all right, good. So everybody seemed to be enjoying this really well, and I really appreciate the feedback, really appreciate the comments. Let me know what you think. All right, so blessings flow to every single one of you. We're going to be ending off on the social media now, and
I want to say, Leon, that I am so proud of yourself and Queen, both Leon and Queen, for such an excellent job. I really am impressed by the way you all have handled it, and I want it to be done. I want it to be known publicly that it is much appreciated. God bless you all.
Blessings. Thank you so much. By the way, I just want to highlight something in particular. You know what? I'll leave that alone. I'll leave that alone. I was going to highlight something here, but I'll leave it. Let me just read something here. Brother Stewart was top notch. Brother Stewart was top notch. That's what we're talking about. All right. So good stuff coming out here. Everybody seemed to be appreciating this really well. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely session. May God bless you. Have a wonderful day. All right.